everybody? Welcome back to another video game analysis, and I don't have a Wario hat, so this will have to do. And yes, today we are talking about Wario to start off the new season, the new year. You know what I'm talking about. So, yeah. Now, Wario is a character that a lot of people are more familiar with time and time again, but especially Waluigi, you know, all the memes around him. But bottom line here, today I'm going to talk more about how Wario is used as not only a character, but a what's the word? Not only as a character, like who he is, because a lot of people know that, but also how Nintendo uses him, how he operates in the video game world, I guess is the best way of saying it. So yeah, wish I had a better camera, and yeah, let's get started. One thing I want to say before everything is I'm going to obviously making a lot of comparisons to Mario, and I'm not going to do this the whole time because that's going to be annoying. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of talks with Mario because that's where Wario comes from. Wario is, I hope I'm not mispronouncing this word, but Wario is a combination of the words Mario and Wowie, Rau. I think it's Rau. Warui, which is the Japanese word for bad. So, not only was it clever that you just flipped the M upside down to a W, but it was also it also had that second meaning that made it even more clever that you're combining these two similarly spelling words to get Bad Mario. But you know, that's not entirely the case with Wario. It's not just the fact that he's bad. In fact, Wario is one of the rare anti-heroes in the video game world. And yeah, let's talk a bit about his origins first, where he came from, and you know how it shaped who he is. So Wario got his start in a similar fashion to how a lot of side characters in Mario universe get their own series of games, where they begin within a Mario series. Like the perfect example is Yoshi. Yoshi, his first game as the main hero was Yoshi's Island, known to as its official title, Super Mario World 2. Well, Wario's first game where he was the main protagonist was Wario Land. And Wario Land was also known as Super Mario Land 2, which Super Mario Land was a Game Boy series of Super Mario games. So, Wario as a character is very unique. He is an anti-hero, which is something Nintendo rarely does. Nintendo, especially at this time, is the family-friendly heroes versus villains kind of game publishers. Wario was a different step, and Wario, I also want to make an important note, was not created by Shigeru Miyamoto, like many would believe. Or might believe. He was created by Gunpei Yokoi, which I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name right, because he was a big Nintendo designer. I believe he still works for them today. Yokoi created a lot of the Game Watch games, and was actually the creator of the D-pad. He also had a big part in Game Boy games, like the Mario Land series, and you know, when it came to making a big-time new villain for Super Mario Land 2, you know, Yokoi was creative enough to create an anti-Mario, a bad Mario. And when it comes to Wario, everything about him is unique because of that. He was at the right place at the right time, and because of that, he got a third installment of the Wario Land series right here, and there was also a fourth installment. There was a Wii game that was the last Wario Land game, Wario Land Shake It. There was Wario World, which was made for the GameCube, which was an attempt to make a 3D version of Wario Land. It has its fans, and it's a really popular series. It's a series that I enjoy too. Wario as a character, he's consumed by greed. He's not trying to save anybody, but he's trying to get fame and glory and riches. He's trying to become powerful, and he wants to become a celebrity. You know, Wario and because of that, Wario gets to have so many varied roles in many different styles of games that Mario can't. Because Mario, as we talked about this before in the when I did an analysis on silent protagonists in video games, where they're like Mario, they're characters that are so loved by everyone that there's this fear of polarizing an audience because maybe they don't like an idea of their hero Mario being greedy or not caring about the princess, just wanting to do it for the glory. Maybe Mario doesn't have. Maybe Mario just all of a sudden likes garlic instead of mushrooms. It does sound petty, I know, and it can be dumb, but that's just the fact. People like their well-known, long-established heroes to stay that way as they remember them, as they knew them, as they were established. It's no different in many other forms of media, like superheroes and whatnot. So when you have a character like Wario, you get to break all that and go through new angles in a Mario-like game that you couldn't with anything else. So just to further establish my point here about Wario getting to go places Mario can't, it's a very clever way to use him. I'm sure the Wario Land series didn't have to happen. But, the character was a fun idea. And, Wario could have been like the main villain from Super Mario Brothers 2. Or maybe he could have been like the villain from Super Paper Mario. Or the villain from, all the one-timer villains that came and went. He could have been that. Especially on the Game Boy, But... no, people liked him. He was given a chance to get his own series, and Nintendo used him as a tool. If they had an idea and they say, no one would like it if Mario did that, they can give it to Wario. And really, in today's world, Wario definitely has his own foot in the ground. But, still, he always goes to the trend of having another character slot for Mario Party or Mario Kart or anything like that. But when it's his time to shine, when his name is on the game, it's something you probably never seen before or didn't expect. Like when they want to try something new, but they want a big face, Wario is just a great tool for that, and that's what I mean. You don't have to. You can stay in the Mario universe, but you can try new things, and it's a really good use of a anti-hero character, an evil character. It's like when I'm probably picking on Shadow the Hedgehog here, but a lot of people do on YouTube. But Shadow the Hedgehog was a poor example of that because you can tell that Sega had the same idea. Let's make a shooter game, but we can use Shadow the Hedgehog, and it didn't work in their favor. But the same concept was there, and if they executed it better, it could have worked. But what are you gonna do? Wario was a accomplishment in that concept. He was an example of how to expand a universe using a different character. You flip the M to a W and there you go. So let's see another example of what I'm talking about here on where Wario can go. WarioWare, just to establish that this is a new kind of game, they gave Wario a new look. They gave him his own town, his own world, his own friends. And I really like that because it shows how malleable Wario is as a character, how you can take him in many areas and it'll work, it'll be fun. And this modernized Wario's character. Wario is crude, he's brash, he doesn't care about anyone but himself, he's greedy. And the whole idea is he is pretty meta. I like the meta joke where he's taking advantage of the video games and how easy you can make money at them. And I also think it's appropriate, given that the creator of Wario worked on the Game & Watch series, and this reminds you a lot of that. And even there are direct games based on Game & Watch here, but WarioWare was just an experiment. It was people making a bunch of little tiny games, and they knew it was going to be something, but they had to put a name on it, and they put Wario's name on it. And it created this whole series that a lot of people love, just as much as the Wario Land games. It's simple. You have games after games after games, and they tied it together with Wario's character so well. They made a story arc based on it. You care about the other people involved, his friends. You learn more about who Wario is outside of the Mario universe. And I think that's really cool. Like in the first Wario Land game, he was trying to save Princess Peach, but not because he wanted to, not because he wanted to save her, but because he wanted a reward. So, you know, he, it goes from that, something very Mario related, to being some guy who wants to get rich quick by making video games. And even this series experiments with like things like hardware. Like you have WarioWare Touch, which works with the works with the DS's touchscreen. You have WarioWare Smooth Moves, which works with the motion control of the Wii. There's also WarioWare Twisted that worked with a motor. We worked with what do you call it? It's kind of like motion control from a pack put into the cartridge in your Game Boy, so you can move, you can twist around the Game Boy to do the mini games, the micro games, and I think that it all comes together to Wario so well. It's just a perfect mix match of who Wario is and what Nintendo can do with Wario and how Wario can be used as a character. There's a lot of personality in these little things alone. You know, Wario's on his bike. Wario wants to be cool. He wants to be famous and rich. And when it comes to anti-heroes like that, in many ways people can relate, because it's hard for a big complaint with Mario is, for some people, is he's a goody-goody two-shoes, and a lot of people don't like the goody-goody characters because a lot of people find it's easier to relate to people who are flawed. And while I, for one, appreciate characters like that, I also understand that criticism. And, Wario, I think, is an excellent answer to all that. In fact, not only would I love another Wario game, but a new Wario Land game is really due, So WarioWare operates in many places. He has the WarioWare series, the Wario Land series. Game & Wario just came out. Another great example of the fact that the creator of Wario designed a lot of the Game & Watch game, the hardware for it. Game & Wario pretty much is a WarioWare game, but I'm just saying it's a different title. It's a different idea. Wario has a lot of parts in a lot of Mario games, yeah, but where he is the main character, they're really popular. They're here to stay. I'm looking forward to new installments of a lot of these kind of games. I just want to prove the point that Wario is more than just bad Mario. It's like I mentioned all this talk about comparing to Mario, but really what I feel is, in the question of, is just Wario just another character slot to put in a Mario side game? No, I don't think so. I think Wario is a very cool character to have in the Nintendo world as the anti-hero, as a selfish character. Like, imagine family-friendly Nintendo having a selfish, greedy character. You don't think of that much until you think of Wario in this light. And, just to prove my point about how I think Wario is definitely an established character in his own right, let's point out the obvious here. So, like I said before, Wario, pretty much a lot of the time, especially right now, since Game & Wario for the Wii U didn't do very well, Wario takes a common place as a character in a Mario game, like Mario Kart or Mario Party. Side Mario games, Mario Tennis. In fact, his counterpart for Luigi, Waluigi, actually actually came from the first Mario Tennis game for the Nintendo 64. And that being said, Smash Brothers, him being included in Smash Brothers, well, particularly Smash Brothers Brawl, I think is a big deal. Because it's not another Mario game, it's a Nintendo game. I want to point out the fact that Wario is celebrated as his own character. As you can see, Mario, behind his name, with his percentage, has a mushroom for the Mario series. Wario has a W for the Wario series. Well, obviously they're mostly referencing WarioWare, because that series got really popular. But also, the fact that his regular traditional Wario hat overall getup is also available, it's nice to see characters like Wario be appreciated. Not to just say, oh, hey, we can't do this with Mario, let's do it as Wario. Take out, not to make him like a cushion to prevent risk, but to still work within the Mario universe, but to recognize that he is his own character. Much like what they do with Yoshi, since he had enough games to say that Yoshi has his own series of video games. Bottom line here, it sums up to the fact that Wario has his own move set. There's a couple moves that may be similar to Mario, but he's not just bad Mario. That's the point. He has different moves here because, and he's different costumes here because he has different emblems here because he is recognized as his own character. He is recognized as his own series even, and that's something to really appreciate. His own personality, his own ideas behind him, his own creator. There's a lot going on for Wario, and that's something that a lot of people who are fans of him and the Mario series should definitely recognize. Okay, so that ends everything off. It's gonna be an interesting year because a lot of things are gonna change for me. A lot of things have. So yeah, let's find that out. But it doesn't stop what we're gonna do. So next week, I want to talk about sports games. I think it's time to talk about something that a lot of core gamers, even casual gamers, like, oh, sports games, man. Why I could just go outside and play. It's but there's a big audience for it at the same time. Like the FIFA games are so popular, but I want to talk about that because there's a lot of different opinions on sports video games. There's a lot of different ways to play sports video games, and I want to talk about that. So we're gonna do that. Um, Wario, as for Wario, good for him. He's a good guy. So yeah, that's our show, guys. If there's anything I missed, if there's anything I got wrong, if there's anything you would like to add to the conversation, please do not hesitate to leave a comment. Like and share would be great. Please help me out with that YouTube stuff. So thank you all so much for watching. I've been Billy, your video game analyzer. Have a good day, good night whenever you're watching this. I hope you forgive these end slates while I figure out how the new ones work on YouTube. And I'll see you next time.